You know what's strange? The one day that's supposed to celebrate your existence is the very day some people quietly avoid. No posts, no parties, no calls, just another ordinary day. And the more you think about it, the more unsettling it becomes. Why would someone choose to disappear on the day they were born? We often assume birthdays are universally loved, a day filled with attention, validation, and warmth. But that assumption hides a deeper truth. For a surprising number of people, birthdays don't feel like celebrations. They feel like pressure, discomfort, or even quiet sadness. And most of us never stop to ask why. But picture this. It's someone's birthday. Messages start pouring in. Notifications, calls, expectations. People want to meet, celebrate, make the person feel special. But instead of excitement, there's a subtle tension building inside them. A feeling they can't quite explain, so they ignore the messages, avoid plans, and let the day pass unnoticed. Now imagine this. You grew up in an environment where attention wasn't always safe, where being seen meant being judged, criticized, or compared. Over time, your brain learns something powerful. Visibility equals vulnerability. So when a birthday comes around, a day that puts a spotlight directly on you, it doesn't feel good. It feels risky. This is where psychology begins to reveal something deeper. For many people, avoiding birthdays isn't about disliking celebrations. It's about avoiding emotional exposure. Birthdays are not just about cake and wishes. They're symbolic. They represent identity, self-worth, and the passage of time. And if someone has a complicated relationship with themselves, that symbolism can feel overwhelming. Think about it. A birthday quietly asks a question. What have you done with your life so far? And not everyone is ready to answer that. But here's the interesting part. This behavior often connects to something psychologists call self-concept clarity. People who have a stable and positive sense of who they are tend to enjoy celebrations. But those who feel uncertain, critical, or disconnected from themselves may experience discomfort when attention is focused on them. And this is where things get strange. Avoiding birthdays can sometimes be a form of emotional protection. If you don't celebrate, you don't risk disappointment. No expectations means no emotional letdown. It's a quiet way of staying in control. Now let's zoom out a little. Historically, birthdays weren't always celebrated the way they are today. In many cultures, they were either ignored or marked with simple rituals. The modern idea of big celebrations, social media posts, and public acknowledgement is relatively new, and with it came something else: comparison. Today, birthdays are not just personal events, they are social performances. People measure how loved they are by how many messages they receive, how many people show up, how much effort others put in. And for someone who already feels uncertain about their worth, this can be deeply uncomfortable. Research in social psychology supports this. Studies on social comparison theory show that when people are placed in situations where they feel evaluated, even subtly, they can experience anxiety and withdrawal. A birthday in today's world is exactly that kind of situation. But here's what most people don't realize. Not celebrating a birthday can also be linked to a desire for emotional independence. Some individuals don't want their happiness to depend on external validation. They prefer to keep their emotional world private, untouched by expectations or social rituals. And then there's another layer. For some, birthdays are quiet reminders of time passing, aging, missed opportunities, unresolved goals. Instead of joy, the day brings reflection, and that reflection feels good. So rather than confronting those emotions, they choose avoidance. Not because they don't care, but because they care too much. And this is where everything comes together. People who don't celebrate their birthdays are not necessarily cold, distant, or ungrateful. In many cases, they are deeply introspective, sensitive to meaning, to expectations, to the weight of being seen. Their silence is not emptiness, it's protection. So the next time you meet someone who shrugs off their birthday like it's nothing, pause for a moment. Because behind that indifference might be a story of self-perception, emotional history, and a quiet attempt to stay safe in a world that constantly demands visibility. And maybe the real question isn't why they don't celebrate. Maybe it's this: what does it truly mean to feel comfortable being seen? If this made you see people a little differently, consider subscribing. There's always more beneath the surface than we think.